Well, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Of course. Well, no, it's not. Can you hear the music though? What's up, homie? Oh, are you there?
You carry on, brother.
You're muted.
You
I
carry on,
think.
brother. You carry on, brother. Just making some food.
All right. Okay. Oh, maybe it'll help.
Feedback.
All right, I'll be here.
There are so many links. There are so many links.
I just shared the whole screen. Is what happened.
Ezra,
What's up?
Let's see.
how's
Hello,
it going?
Ezra.
Ezra,
Good. What's up?
how's it going?
Nice. Good.
How are you?
Yeah, I took it as I guess like a kind of bat signal.
Wait, did he just ask you that? Is my
That-
timing off?
Yeah, I took it as I guess like a kind of bat signal. That
Yeah, if you want. I got nothing going on, bro. I wanted to write something, and I also wanted to invite people to come out. But I like to write to music. But every time I try to write to something that already exists on YouTube that my friends didn't create, I get like whatchamacalled, copyright claims. Unless you're gonna copyright claim me, then there's that. But
it's nice to have the option open. It's
hello?
nice to have the option open.
Should I not be playing the music? I guess I should have asked first.
It's funny as I hear myself.
Hello?
It's funny as I hear myself on a delay as you hear me on a delay
Oh,
as you hear me,
let's see.
which is
Might have to turn on
psychedelic.
my echo cancellation device. Mic settings. Okay. I guess. There.
All right.
Are we normal now or what?
Yeah. I was kind of into it. It was trippy.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard. Is it okay if I use your music like that? I should have asked. Sorry.
It's okay. Sure. You asked for the link and I gave it.
All right.
I didn't know what would happen.
Well, I didn't plan for this.
But
I
it's
was
the
just
kind of
trying-
thing people should do on a vibe stream. Is listen to some delays and things and
Yeah.
do something else besides just listen to that, please.
Yeah. So I was just trying to find a character, I guess. Maybe get out a little bit of creative tension, I suppose. You know.
A character, or were you were you talking to a part? Were you talking to a demon? Did you try to cast a demon out into a Word doc? Did it
No, I wasn't. I was just I had this idea of I was getting kind of bored with my writing on this story, and I wanted to like break into my story and just have the characters start talking to me, and then I just start talking to them. But I was like, that's a stupid ass idea. It's probably unoriginal and dumb.
is that what
And
you
then-
said, or a character?
I said that, yeah,
Okay.
because yeah, and then but I still might do it. I mean, I guess that's what I'm doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyhow, how are you?
Okay. Yeah. Looked at a house today. I don't think it's the house, but did that. Was just talking to David about Gethsemane.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. But I didn't watch a lot. I just put Carolyn down and thought, I don't really want to butt in on a theological conversation. I'll do my
It
own
was
weird
cool because it was just like, what's your interpretation of this one paragraph? Whether or not you want to connect it to other stuff or whether or not you want to just take it as it is. And yeah, I guess I like interpreting stuff.
Well, you want to interpret this?
Okay. Yeah.
There's not much there. You're pretty good at interpreting, so I mean, you basically changed my mind on the sheep movie, which was heartbreaking. But what are you gonna do?
We don't always make our savings rolls. Throws.
I often fail. I think that's how God made me. Actually, I think He made me to fail savings throws. It's a feature, not a bug. All right, so I guess I'll share this. Let's see, share screen, share screen, share entire screen. Okay, that share. All right. Let's see. Is it working? Is it sharing? Okay. All right. All right. Here is the thing we're going to interpret.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
That's a very long delay. All right, so I'll just read it. Probably for some story. So this is what we're doing now, talking to our characters. You spelt it, not me, he said. But seriously, what are we doing right now? I'm trying to break through the bull. I've got a tremendous desire to get you out of my head and nothing at the moment to say, at least nothing good, original, worth sharing. Oh, good one. Yeah, I thought so. Wait, so I'm a character? Yeah. And I think you know that, but no, not what to make out of that. You know the word and the concept, but not what it's like to make one. You've got no history. You're a concept in my head, albeit lame one. Do you think anyone's watching? Looks like 8 to 10. Wait, so you think I'm some sort of character with no self-knowledge, other than that he's a character with knowledge of the concept of characters as such, but with no history? Yeah, basically. Well, explain how I am a he. Good observation. Yeah, thanks. But did you deduce that? Oh, sorry, let me this. Who knows? You're the one who's doing the writing. Do you think anyone will show up? Maybe. This is the third stream I've done today. You should probably get a life. Anyways, tell me about my history since you're so sure I have one. I'm not sure you have one. I actually said you don't have one. Well, how does one get a history? Good question. Wait, before you go on, is your spelling and punctuation always this bad? Is your self deprecation always this predictable and boring? Was there really nothing on the television for you to watch? And why aren't you writing on your vacation story? Who do you think? How do I know all this is?
Right. Well, the part nothing good, original, or worth sharing. That's I guess I hear that as like a value structure. But one that might, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's, like, yeah, what is that value structure? Is that the right value structure? Because, like, the hierarchy I hear, like, this is probably the hierarchy I'd go with. There's what's worth sharing. That's probably at the top, right?
Yeah.
Then there's what's original, which is like the beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the true, the good, and the beautiful. And that's the order
Okay.
that I'd put them in.
Okay.
Right? Because if that's the truth at the top there, that's like your new page. Worth sharing. Although worth sharing, there's a little bit of a question there about what that means.
Mm-hmm.
To share. So we're going to put that in the double quotes. And then original, that's like new, beautiful, maybe. Right? So, this is how I see things. Okay, I don't really know how to draw this, but how I see things is that your truth there is like that. It's like a head. That's a head. It's supposed to be a head. And then the good, that's like the heart, and then the beautiful, that's like the body. It's got arms, and legs, and shit. Right?
Talk to me, bro.
And then you're talking about will anyone show up? Like what's the why is that the what does it matter? And then was interesting this how does one get a history? That was one of the only that was kind of an unanswered question there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had this thing about there being nothing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Stood out. And then there was this idea of avoidance because you're avoiding. You're being accused by the accuser voice of avoiding writing the story you should have been writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are some things that jumped out.
Very good. So do you think it was good and worth sharing? Oh, fuck me.
What does that mean, worth sharing? Is worth sharing like what makes something worth sharing? Like, because I think good and worth sharing are kind of the same, but it was interesting that it was like good, and then it came back with this, original. Does it have to be original to be good? I mean, is good a mediation between the new and the old?
Good call.
But maybe some things are just good,
See, this is why you should be on the other side. I should make the history. I should hand the history making over to you. And we should have this conversation on the text. Because, like, I'm also playing with that. Like, what does it mean to develop a character? And sometimes I don't really know. It just happens, right? Damn, look at that. It's funny. As soon as you brought the peppers in, you focused. And now they're gone, and you're out of focus. I think he steamed you up, bro. But
if I go too high with the camera, you can see Pickle Rick.
Oh, that's sweet, dude.
Try to keep that. We try to crop Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I want to be associated with that program?
Yeah.
I don't watch it anymore.
You can always put up your disassociation card.
Oh yeah, we keep that ready at hand now. Still has the message on the back.
Mhm. Henry Fool.
Yeah, that's a movie. You seen that
Okay.
one?
Henry Fool?
Yeah.
No.
Man, it's
I
a
want-
weird movie in a way.
I watched
I mean,
Smoke. I like that.
I don't think I've ever seen Smoke.
I liked it.
It has with the Harvey Keitel.
Yeah. It was suggested by Bison.
Okay.
And it was really good. I thought what I really liked about it is what I like. Some of my favorite kind of stories are the what's not explicitly shared in the story. There's like intentional hidden story there to sift through, I think, which makes it a lot more interesting. Even though it was on the face, it was interesting.
Yeah, I want to check that out because for one thing, it's like from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And if a movie's from the 90s and it's like an American movie, and if it's at all an indie movie, which I think that is,
Mhm.
there's like a 20% chance I've seen it.
Okay.
And I just don't remember. Because a while back I was watching all these movies from that time period that were indie, and I was like, one of them I watched almost the whole movie, and then I was like, I've seen this before.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Without giving away really, I think anything. I saw once we got to the end, I was like, oh, this is the whole story's born out of this story right here. And I thought that must be true. 'Cause sometimes I wonder, like, do you ever read a book or watch a movie and there's like a part in a movie, like it might be one little part in a scene, and you're like, I wonder if that was the genesis of the creative spark by which the whole story grew out of.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was like watching this and I thought, oh, it's gotta be, and then we looked it up and sure enough, that's where it was, the whole story is born out of that, which was like cool affirmation.
That's
Creative
interesting.
affirmation. Yeah.
Do you have that experience a lot?
Of being able to have that kind of foresight or insight.
Yeah, like you pick up on something and then you like look it up or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's, correct even if it was like a subtle thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Biblio's asking me if I remember the name of the trilogy. Is it is it the I don't know what it's called. The final one is Ned Rifle. I didn't like that one.
Mm.
But I like Henry Fool. That's an interesting movie, and I have a kind of personal relationship with it because, or this story where I had this cousin, and it's like we had a first cousin who lived in our town, but we didn't. He was like a couple years older than my oldest brother, so we didn't really hang out that much, even though we're like close together and we were at family functions and stuff. But we knew that he loved movies. So we love movies and he loved movies, but we never talked about movies together. And then one time, he came over to watch movies, and he just brought these 3 movies, and they were all these movies by Hal Hartley. And the third one was Henry Fool.
Oh no.
He's got food to eat. And anyway, I thought they were awesome, and they were like really indie and unique. And I was like, I want to make movies like that. That's awesome. And I don't think my brothers really ever we didn't really talk about it that much after that. Although we did talk about those movies sometimes, but we never had my cousin over again. And then years later, I would hang out with my cousin a lot.
I was talking to Grizz today and Rigel about. I think that the possibility of taking the Shakespeare play that you guys are doing and actually turning it into a feature film in the format that it is would be really cool. Cool art
It
film.
was interesting that you even said make a print.
Mhm.
That you were it's like you were imagining like we make a 35 print,
Mhm.
and then this print
Yeah,
goes to the theater and
yeah.
and you know
Hmm.
we watch it
I have
flicker up there.
I actually have a story that I pitched it to. Well, I didn't pitch it. I just said this would be a cool idea. What do you think? And they were like, "Oh, that would be cool." I was like, "Yeah, do whatever you want, but just make the thing, you know." And she is the lady that she was working with Symbolic World years ago, and I don't know if she's still working with them or not, but she used to work for Disney, and she was a story boarder for Disney, and she has a really great rando with Paul about, and in that rando she talks about being a very faithful um, wife and mother. Great, love that lady. Anyways, the story is, um, and this came about because I went to a few years back. I went to Anna and I got tickets, free tickets to a planetarium. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those, but a planetarium is like a dome, and you sit in these chairs that lean all the way back, and they
Yeah.
project a film onto the dome, and then there's music
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sitting in this planetarium watching this really shitty movie. It is just horrible. It was dumb. It was not good. It just wasn't good. And I'm like watching this, like, what is this guy even trying to do? It was just like it was basically, it was like Buffalo 66. Yeah, wasn't that what's his nuts? Anyways,
I just saw
um,
Biglio mention that the other day too, and I was just like, he's talking about movies I own.
um,
But yeah, I went to so they showed a bad movie because I only have one memory of seeing a movie at a what is it, planetarium,
yeah,
and it was
this was
this movie about how I think it was this movie about how the moon used to be part of the Earth,
okay.
and we got hit by a meteor, and all this stuff broke off, and that formed the moon,
Yeah.
and that stuck in my head, that story.
Isn't the guy's name Vincent
That was the first
in
time I ever
Buffalo
heard that.
66?
Vincent Gallo.
Yeah. All right. So in this movie, it was like, remember like the old screensaver, not screensaver, but like you'd have like Windows music on your computer, and it had like this little like screen shapes that would bounce around the screen and turn into all these weird shapes.
Yes.
It was like that. That was the movie. Okay. That was the movie that I was watching at the planetarium. It was like that, but it was like supposed to be more like three-dimensional, like you were flying through these shapes. And the movie was funded by this musician who created the music and who funded the digital crap that we were flying through. It was like really weird. And the whole time, Ann and I were just basically kind of laughing at it because it was corny as hell. But this is post COVID, so
Yeah, don't they typically play Dark Side of the Moon, and then there's like projected shapes, and
I'd be cool with
happy.
that because it's good music.
That's what I thought they normally do.
But so while I'm sitting there watching this, and I was thinking, I really love the technology I love the sound. Like I love the way that the sound feels. I love the way that the dome feels like it's like right here, and I love that. But somebody needs to get a hold of Jonathan Peugeot and make a film. The film idea that I have is basically a creation story, a cosmic story told through the images of iconography, like ancient iconography that's made into like three-dimensional animation, but it looks like iconography. And the way that the film starts, it starts like basically out in the woods. People, actual live action people, come and clear out, make a clearing and build a church, like in kind of like time lapse or something. And then you walk into the church, and when you walk into the church, it opens into this cosmic story that looks like iconography. And there's like it's told through like ancient sounding music, and no, I don't think any kind of like discernible language as far as words and speech goes, but the imagery tells the story. And so it'd be like that sort of a story. And I thought, man, if somebody can make something like that is really powerful and good, and when you walk out, you should be asking yourself, what did I just watch exactly? And that's the idea that I have for it. And then, Symbolic World can make a bunch of prints and push them out to like, put like 10 prints on tour in planetariums around the country or something,
Yeah. One of my favorite movies ever is a like heavily inspired by Orthodox art and icons movie called The Color of Pomegranates.
I've heard of this.
And it's very interesting. It's the life of this famous poet. I think he was I forget stuff about him, but it was like this famous like way back in the day poet, and it's the story of his life, but it's told iconographically. So it's just like these tableau setups of symbolic imagery to tell the story.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible movie because some of the visual things in this movie are so striking and like just beautiful. And it's not even like an expensive movie or anything. Like if you look up how it was made and stuff, it's like, it was way easier to make this movie, cheaper to make this movie, simpler to make this movie than any movie that we see come out now. And yet it just makes other things seem very silly.
Yeah.
And stupid, but it really anyway, it just had a really powerful effect on me too, because it was like this poet story, but it's told in this, you have to interpret everything, and then his poetry is kind of woven in, and it was just very like cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man.
It's kind of weird though, because they show it it a lot, because I think that it's like an Orthodox movie, but then it's like an art movie, and then people kind of read into it as you can read all kinds of things into it, and you could read it as kind of like a it's like from the late 60s, but you could like interpret it as like a queer art movie or something.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But you could also probably interpret it as like a Orthodox story of a poet or whatever.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about. No, never mind. It's not about Seraphim Rose, is it?
No, it's about
Okay.
this guy like it's like way old timey. I don't know, like 1,000 years ago type of thing, or 400 or 500 years ago, maybe. Because it's like they don't even know that much about his life, I don't think. And
Mhm.
so it was like they were going to tell the story of this famous poet's life, but instead of telling like a linear narrative, it's like a poem.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very interesting
Hmm.
movie. It's also just interesting because it was, I think, maybe the third exposure to anything orthodox, like iconographic, that I'd ever really had.
Yeah,
And all three were through movies, and that was sort of like the last one, and it was like
yeah.
it went all the way.
So the image I have in mind for this particular planetarium feature that I have in mind is um, it. I don't want it to be like. I wouldn't want it to be like I'd want it to have that kind of quality where it's like it should be almost jarring when you see it. Like you know, it should be like emotive. Like it should like you should fail saving throws basically, and it wouldn't be an orthodox film, and it wouldn't be affiliated, I don't think, with any particular um, tradition other than the Christ tradition itself, and
Would
that
be
would be the
interesting. I think it'd be
what's that?
interesting. I took Pajot did like a master class thing in symbolism, and I think it would be interesting to almost like adapt his master class in symbolism
Hmm.
into this movie. Because what was interesting about that is that like some of his slides and stuff would just be like a yin yang, or then like a really simple drawing or something.
Hmm.
But then it would keep exploring the pattern and the meaning of the pattern. And it was a little bit explainy because it was like trying to learn about it. But it'd be
Yeah.
interesting if you could kind of do that very abstractly,
Hmm.
but it like was the story. So it could use that biblical imagery, but it could also use like just totally abstract in a way imagery.
Well, you know that one he has like this cosmic image
Oh yeah.
where it's like this big cosmic image, like, so partly the thing I have in mind is something like that, but like, you know, the idea of if you were to zoom in like with a microscope into a cell and you just keep looking and it just keeps going deeper and deeper and you can never see the bottom of a cell. It'd be like that, where you can zoom into this cosmic image and without looking explicitly like a fractal, like that obviously will happen, you know, through this like idea that you're saying. But I would also want the images to not be still images. I'd want them to move. I want them to be
Yeah.
uh, look. I mean, it would look kind of. I'd want it to even maybe even look clunky. Um, but yeah. Anyways, that would be kind of cool. That's a dream I have of making a film. I have a few, but I'm not sure if I'll ever do any of that stuff. It's not that important, I guess. Talking about it might be as good.
I shot some 16 millimeter film one time.
Hmm.
You wanna see part of it?
I do.
I think I can I think I like have it somewhere. All right, hold on.
Hmm.
Cuz I gotta I can't do it that way. Okay. I gotta share screen and I'm gonna open it. So we gotta edit out part of it.
So I took one of the last things I sent to Dave Busatil, which he hasn't responded to me yet, probably because he's busy. But I asked him, "How do you write like a play, a stage play script? I don't know what is that, playbill? I don't know what that's called. Anyways, how do you write that?" And I also asked him if he thought that the story I wrote, The 16th and Grant, would be good enough to make into a stage play. And he never responded. But I think that would be kind of fun to turn into a film of sorts or a play. But I gotta write more stories. Can't just be that one, dude. I'm a little obsessed, I think. Oh, here we
All
go.
right.
Here we go.
So this is this is part of this is the only film I've ever shot here. This is my old neighbor's dog.
What's the lines? Is that
That's
editing?
just no, it's just like it's a cheap digital whatever of it. So it's got those lines in it.
Cool.
And then this is testing the different speeds. So then eventually it gets like, slow-mo. Because I'm shooting on a Russian movie camera that you crank.
Nice.
And then at the end, then like all the light leak comes in because I took the film out of the camera without going into the dark. So,
Oh, nice.
Kind of crazy.
I love that.
And there you go.
I love that the frames before where his face was out of focus, but his tail was in focus. I like that. Uh-oh. What do we do now?
But yeah. So I got curious about because you hear like it's so expensive to make a film or whatever, but the costs have actually come down really far. And nowadays you can like shoot your film and then you can just scan it. So whereas before you had to like make the print and make a internegative and then make a printed whatever. So it's like quite a bit cheaper. So I bought years and years. That's years and years and years old. But I bought these Russian movie cameras from Russia, and it took forever to have them delivered. And they might be like radioactive. I don't know, but they work, and you put a film in there and like crank it, and you can shoot stuff. And
Bison here has a question for you about working with variant analog techniques.
Yeah, what is I don't know what the end of that means, but
I don't know either.
I love I just think that we have associations with every kind of analog medium and even different digital techniques and stuff that we kind of learned what they look like and we start to form associations with them. So I think it's really interesting to use those to evoke different things. So that was what I got into, and I had this idea that I would make a movie, and I would kind of make the movie look like it was on film, even though it was going to be digital because I didn't have the money to make it on film. But I could shoot a little tiny bit of film, little slow motion little parts, and add those in to like little inserts and things to kind of evoke that mood. But it's like I think if we see like VHS or if we see a VHS even effect, it calls to mind something, and I used to shoot on mini DV all the time, which was like the little tapes from the 2000s, and I got so used to that, how that looked, and
yeah, I really like the kind of grainy film filters that I use even on my InShot app that I do all the branding with. I usually lean on those a lot. Um, I tend to really like those very much. And welcome, sir. And I like the yeah. There's something, and then what I also like about that particular app is that there's no snap to grid, so all of the editing is done almost like you would if it was analog, almost. You know what I mean? So like, there's no like perfect lining stuff up. Like every song that you've ever heard, the music that I make on there is always like it's always cut and edited and laid over like one clip at a time, slid. And so I like that imperfect kind of um, editing a lot. It has a way more human feel to it. I like things like in music where you have these so-called imperfections that were from, like Jar of Flies or something. You listen to that record and you're like, man, you can hear everything and it sounds awesome. And I like to keep stuff like that.
Well,
as
yeah,
much
I
as
would say
can.
that the results that you get do speak for themselves, because I'm impressed at what you've been able to do with InShot, because I think I like downloaded it on my computer to see if I could, and it was like foreign to me.
Mhm.
But I don't know if that would work the same on a computer either, because are you using your
I use my
phone?
iPhone.
Yeah, because like that's just a way different interface. So yeah.
Yep. But it was
Biblio.
fun to kind of learn because I most of the editing I've ever learned was on like a Snap to grid, and it was all
Right.
audio. And so taking some of that, my experience with that, but like having more of a loose feel to it makes it so much more. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Bison, welcome, sir.
I just popped on to clarify the question
Yeah.
that apparently didn't make sense. But so, like for Chad, it would be, do you find when you're working at a story or a character or whatever the hell you want to write, the difference between when you're doing like the live thing you were doing with an open online document responding to us showing up versus if you're sitting outside with a piece of paper versus blah blah blah. With Ez, I was thinking about it in relation to like all my kids, they came about during the time where everything was moving digital, but I taught them photography on 35 millimeter cameras, and they all have an old manual 35 millimeter camera, and they still believe they take different kinds of pictures with that than they do with their beautiful. I mean, one of them's a filmmaker now, so fine, but
Yeah.
that's what I kind of mean. And then I was listening to, there's a new documentary about the poet Mary Oliver out, and the lady that made that film. I was listening to some thing with her, and she used all different forms of media, right? She's getting stuff about Mary. There's very little. She was very private, so there's very little film, but it's in the National Archives, so it's like filmed on all these old, whether it's interviews or people talking about her or whatever. And then she just made this decision. It reminds me of Sally Mann. I always have loved like people that work with glass plate photography, that, and the crap that happens on it's like everything makes its own art, in a way to me. And I wondered if you experience it that same way, because we watch people use them as techniques almost, and that feels a little different to me. Like if Tarantino next week decides I'm going to shoot everything on a 8mm on a track, like he's going to be doing that from an idea
Yeah.
a little bit differently from this only happened because I was using this thing.
Yeah. I think about that stuff a lot. I've thought about that stuff a lot because for some reason I was always drawn to analog stuff. I guess because of living through that period where it's like we're shifting digital, and like I was trying to learn how to record music, and it was very like Garage Band and all this stuff, and Pro Tools, and I would be like, I want to get like a cassette deck, and like some of the artists I liked were very analog. So for some reason, I just started to like always gravitate towards that. And then it's kind of funny because I really struggled to do anything with all these digital tools that we have. I kind of just went nuts messing with that stuff. And then for music, I ended up just getting a 4-track cassette deck. And then I made like all these albums, and it was like so much. It was so much a conversation with the medium, not like using the medium as a plug-in or something. Like because you can do that. You can just use it like an overlay in a way. Like I could film something and then I could
Almost like an effect, like
yes.
I know musicians that use it because I want this effect.
But
and
I
that's
was like,
different. That's different.
Yeah, like my thing was a kind of a rebellion against being a perfectionist with digital stuff. So it's like, let's get the 4-track. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to make an album, and I'm just going to improvise the songs as I go and do the overdubs as I go. And then when the tape's done, like that's the album. So it's like the album in order, like this conversation with the medium in a way, hemmed in by it. So like, then I made a bunch of them. So then like a lot of times, like there's a song where it's like, okay, we only have this much tape left. Okay, this song's short, like, and then it'll just cut off. And I liked that. And then if I messed up, I would try to punch in on the tape, and you'd like hear the edit. And I was like, yes, this is great. And then after like a year of doing that, I got a 35mm camera, and I had never been even very visual. And then I became obsessed with photography and then cinematography and movies and all kinds of stuff.
It's like the battle of constraint and opening, like writers will always talk about this with form, right? If you're going to write a sestina or something, like it forces you to write everything differently. And the 35mm is like that. But then I think about, there are kind of masters we know of. I guess that's my thing, is I always felt like I only had analog opportunities until I was like 30 or something, right? So then I get fascinated by the way folk will use digital tools. And then there's just some older masters, like I would think of Radiohead or Tom Waits or filmmakers we talked about in the chat, that now also start to use the mediums as part of the artistic choices. Like they know they need this constraint for this. That's curious to me. That feels more like mastery or like sainthood, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, now I only want to use a track camera. You gotta have enough experience with all the forms to know that for what I want to happen here, it's this. You know, that feels a little bit more like Beethoven's late string quartets or something. But I think the more interest for me is just what actually happens for us, like the way Chad started this stream. That felt like you were trying some new shit to figure out if you'd get prompted to kick something off, you know? And
Yeah.
that's why I responded with the let's all go walk.
Mhm.
Because for me, that probably would prompt something more than sitting with paper or watching you guys, or then I got kind of sucked in. Sorry, but
Well, like I have
you
this.
see what I mean? Like when you move
Yeah.
between media, when you're
I have-
tiling, different shit happens in your head
Yes,
than when you're doing
I was
this.
just about to say that. It's funny that you recognize that because, like, I have these ideas, just constantly. Like when I hear people talk about doing like writing out a plot or writing out like storyboard or something like this, I'm like, that would just drive me insane because that to me just seems like extra work that because I hate that. To me sounds like doing work twice, which I hate doing. So if I'm just like thinking about shit while I'm working or talking with my friends or listening, and maybe an ideal will kind of like come to the front of my mind, and then I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, and then it just kind of sits back there for a while, and then I get enough of like a pile of shit back there waiting to kind of be pulled out and plugged into different things while I'm trying to be creative. And then I think I have a very strong relationship with little care for the outcome. so I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's not gonna. I'm a fucking towel guy. What do I give a fuck about this? Just start doing the thing, and then let if it's bad, that's fine. It's whatever. I have like I need to feel the friction of creation. That's really where I'm at with it. Like I want that. There's payoffs. I do love like when I send Ezra or you the story or all the people I love hearing feedback. I do love that. I'm not so pretentious to where I'm going to say I don't care what you guys think. No, I fucking care what you guys think. I love it. It makes me very joyful. There's two parts of it. Obviously it's can you believe that this was made? This is ridiculous. Like I'm not saying can you believe that I made this? It's like can you believe this is what the fuck? And it's weird. So that's cool. And then the other part is like I can tell when it hits for somebody or lands for somebody, that feels really good. It's like cool. I was able to be some sort of channel that could bring about some meaning or something with somebody. And wasn't that cool that we can have this trinity of experience where God is using the two of us and the art to shine, to reveal to us that he exists. That to me is the coolest bit of all of it. But yeah.
Well, I think I guess I feel affinity to you that way, where I don't ever really have a directed goal. But I think about those people, some of my favorite people are those fuckers that like map something on a wall, or like Jesse Ball is one of my favorite writers, and he'll just like post-it note the whole wall like Ezra. So it looks so constraining to me, and then that constraint bursts out crap. And obviously he needs those. Henry Miller always was that way for me. Like you think of him as like the freest kind of wackoid, I don't know what they called him, but just free and easy writer that's just blabbing. But really his walls were like maps of characters and things that are happening. So I feel like everybody's interaction with the media obstacle, or I think it's less that. It's more like traction. You know, like you with when you leave because your daughter wakes up. It's like that. Like that's the thing that. But I've always found that, like, for me, it's better. More is going to happen if I'm not doing what I think I want to do than if I'm doing what I set out to do or dream of doing.
Well, yeah, like I used to be a perfectionist to the point of can't make anything or finish anything at all. You know, like I started this like album that was going to be my like, this is my indie album masterpiece. And that was like 12 or 13 or 15 years ago or something like that. Yeah, it was probably 15 years ago. I never finished it or anything. But then I started like, when I started just making crazy stuff, and I would like write by just improvising insane stuff on a typewriter for a little bit and stuff. Then that got to be fun, but when I got to doing the music, it almost felt like I felt like I'm developing this like relationship with the whatever is inside, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take your macaroni picture and I'm gonna put it on the fridge. And good job, keep them coming. And I would try to put minimal constraints on like, you know, what I think actually makes something good, which is like, I don't know, it's from the heart and it's not a lie. And then apart from that, let's just, you know, F it up. And then I delighted in the effing up of how insane my like 30 albums of effed up shit is. But it's like, I love it because it's like, well, this is my, you know, they're my kids' art, macaroni art pictures. The thing where anybody else would ever, that part, I'm not at that part. I'm at the part of just, hey, I like my kids' macaroni art pictures. And then with this, with the zine, I was inspired by Chad sharing his half-finished story, or his like unfinished story. I was just like, oh, I like this detective, like the speech. I love that like grizzled detective guy talk. I want to try that. And then my experience was like, we were driving somewhere and I thought of the story in like 5 minutes, and it took, you know, whatever, like 100 hours or some crap to actually write it. And I was like, oh, this is grueling.
Guys, I just got off of work and I need to make a quick announcement / request of at least Chad and Ezra. Biblio Bison, you're welcome to join too, but this is specifically for Ezra and Chad. And I saw you guys were live, and so I was like, this is my chance. But this is a VNA announcement. I was inspired by Ezra's movie club, and I would like to start an album club with members of the TLC. And so that will be coming on the way, but I'd like to, and I have to go now because my wife just showed up to pick me up from work. But basically the premise is it'll be an estuary based on an album that we've all listened to. And at the end of the estuary, we will pick the next album for the next estuary. And I think it'll be about every 2 weeks probably, and it'll be on Wednesday nights. So that's the announcement. I will now check up to see what you guys were actually talking about. Sorry to interrupt. Bye-bye.
I think we'll all see you
Perfect.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
That's awesome.
Actually, I thought that as a request, Mr. McMosive, I would like to request the first kickoff to be something of a hybrid. And I would say start with the Holy Grail, which is, in my opinion, The Wall by Pink Floyd. But because it's a movie and a record. So, but that'd be my
Oh, yeah.
my-
So we could do a tie-in. We could cross the stream.
Yes. And honestly, I mean, so this
Dark
is why I
Side,
think,
Wizard of Oz.
yeah, well, and this is why I think I don't really
I've never done that. I don't think that's
have. Oh, it looks cool as hell. It's an accident, probably, but
Yeah.
I think it's a cool accident.
Well, doesn't it make
But-
sense that two of the greatest of, like, this is one of the greatest movies ever. This is a great album. Like, they're gonna fit together
Yeah.
somehow.
Well, that and like that's how stories, something like true stories, play out. Whatever, make what you will of that. What is a true story? And actually, that's kind of yeah, that's kind of the subtitle of the thing that I was writing when you guys showed up. It's I want to write a true story, which is not a true story, but a true story, But so the reason why I have, I think, such a loose relationship with what could be defined as good quality is because I have like very specific images in my mind of what is truly the most beautiful stuff that was ever created in the modern world. And I'm a losing savings throw guy all the way down. And so I love top 40 shit. I'm a top 40 lover. Like I was raised top 40, and so I love things like Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Forrest Gump, Hotel California, the whole record, especially when you get to like, New Kid in Town, stuff like that. I love these things. Like they are powerful to me. I don't get me wrong. I love some of the most obscure stuff. Like I loved sitting at the Lizard Lounge in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and listening to a 3-piece shitty punk band rip it up on stage. I love that. Sitting right at the front of the stage, I love that. But as far as if you have to ask me what is objectively beautiful, I have things in my mind that say what that is. So I'm never going to make that. I don't have the time to pour into something like that. And I don't think God made me to make perfect art or the most beautiful art. I think God gave me a gift of an outlet and the insatiable desire to play show and tell. And so that's why I'm okay with sharing cringy, beautiful art, because that's where it belongs. It's not, these aren't 1,000-year masterpieces. Maybe, I don't, who the fuck are we to say that is anyways, to be honest. So
For some reason, that just reminded me that I think I looked up before, like, how many days did they record in the studio for like Dark Side or something like that, and it was something like 50 to 100 days, like full days or something in the studio or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, most albums are like that have been made are like a day or two, maybe a week at best, whatever.
I
And you're like,
love
yeah, that
the
kind of makes sense that it would take that long.
I love the stories of like when they were mixing it down. You have every guy in the building on that board
You're like
on a
holding
timer.
tape or something.
Yeah, and they need to like at 6 minutes 32 seconds, you're going like 2 beat or 2 DMs, whatever the fuck the thing is.
Yeah.
And the panning, everything is like a live a mix down. And like I just love that idea. Like even if we have the tools to just do everything automation, wouldn't it be so cool to have like 20 guys in a room, like with a timer? You need to turn this at this time, like that. Have that kind of that loose analog feel. And you listen to like when I listen to Dark Side of the Moon, I'm like,
Well, and imagine if they were your buds too, so that then every time they heard this record for the rest of their lives, they'd be like, "You hear that? Hear how that vocal gets a little bit hotter right there? Yep, now it's me."
But and you get into the wall and like the stories behind that, it was a nightmare for everybody involved. And not only the record, but the movie was even more of a nightmare, and you can feel it. But I mean, like I just watched the movie again recently, and I was just like, how the fuck did they do this, dude? Like, how did they? And some of that's like necessity. It wasn't. I think it's to what you were saying, Bison. You know, like it wasn't like we're plugging in to get an effect here. This is a necessity. We have X amount of time to get this damn project done that's killing us, basically destroying, ripping our band apart. We're making the most kind of like iconic material known to modern man.
That's such a different spirit. It's such a different spirit to be like, ooh, but what if we put a chorus on it? Okay, let's try the chorus. Let's listen to that. Okay, that's the chorus on it. Okay. What if it was more like a vibey kind of, okay, let's try that plug-in. Let's try that. Like, that's such a different thing than, I don't know, like, John Lennon being like, I want to sound like I'm hanging from a rope, like flying around the studio. Can we even maybe do that? Like, can we hang me by a rope? And then there's an engineer like, how am I going to... Maybe if we take the organ speaker rotates, we'll do it through the organ speaker. That's like a top down thing, and I just don't think you can get that with your like bottom up. Like, well, what? Maybe I like it a little bit better if there's a little bit of blue in it. It's like if Bob Ross painted that way, the show would be 50,000 hours long. And we'd never even get to a bush or anything.
But I feel like Chad's bringing in a whole other medium, right, of the relationships. Like I grew up with bands that Chad's talking about where, like, shit, what's it been, 35 years for Radiohead, something like that? That those 4 persons or 5 persons have worked together. I think about the Police. I think about, like U2. Like, you can imagine that sort of thing, like in the studio, that everybody. Think about most of the albums we think of, even if they're closely related. Like, I do love Sam Bean a lot as a songwriter, especially, but like when he goes to LA or Nashville or wherever, like the musicians he wants come together for that sound. And you kind of watch people like Dylan and lots of people do that over time, where they ended up, I want these people playing this way for these albums. Whereas when you've got 4 or 5 that just keep, you think of Journey, you think of like, that's a whole nother medium of, I got to work it out with these guys, not I get to pick musicians for this sound.
Yeah, that reminds me of Chad when you were telling me about Metallica or whatever, and the bass player died, and then the next album they just turned the bass down. It's like, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear this new guy's shit. We're not ready to hear that yet.
Yeah. That is that's a really great example. People really shit on that record for its audio quality, and I think it's one of the most impactful records that they made, in my opinion. And yeah, and it's called "And Justice for All." Think about it. I mean, it's the concept. It's like, oh, you're the new guy in the band. Not only are you the new guy in the band, you are the biggest Metallica fan that there ever was. And you think you're going to be on the record? Sorry, pal. I don't care how good you are. And, and like the history behind that. That's why, like, for me, I can't even, like, I'll listen and buy new Metallica records because I'm a failing savings throws all the way down guy, but the last like 3 records are complete shit. But I still will buy the record, but it's not about the record. It's about the Metallica story for me. That's me. Like that's how I see this. And that record, and Justice for All, I think sounds like the most incredible record, dude. I think it's awesome. But or you can go to like I sent you the other day. I sent you these guys were a force to be reckoned with. It was Boston live in 1979 at Giant Stadium, Boston. The band playing and like, damn, these guys are fucking killing it, dude. And I love Boston because I'm a top 40 guy. And can you not just like listen to like the first two records by Boston and be marveled at like how incredible those records sound and the songwriting and like, are you kidding me right now, dude? Can you imagine being in the studio with Bradley Delp while he's belting these fucking tunes out? Are you kidding me, dude? Now people can say all you want. They weren't a real band. They were a studio band. They wrote and recorded everything in the studio, and yeah, but dude, the magic in that shit is amazing. Wes, welcome. You have crows.
Yes, lots of crows doing their thing. Yeah, this music conversation is great. And Justice for All, one of the first albums I ever bought, one of the first concerts I ever saw. Huge Metallica fan. I'm with you, Chad. The story of the band is pretty powerful. All the documentaries, all that stuff. It's very compelling and has been a huge part of my formation as a person. And same with The Wall. Boston. I'm pretty eclectic too when it comes to musical taste. I like all kinds of different stuff, thrash metal to pop to classical to jazz, all kinds of stuff. Music is powerful.
But as I've grown older, though, like I've grown to kind of like the other day I watched a short where James Hetfield was talking to Phil Anselmo. They had like the Pantera, whatever, the new Pantera shows. It was like the last show they played of those. And it was like a backstage. And like Hetfield was kind of a little dickhead. Like he was a little kind of like he was big, like he was big broing Phil Anselmo, and he was like, man. And also the same thing with like Roger Waters. Like these guys were so impactful on me, and I just like can't stand them anymore. But I still love their music and stuff. We scared off Ezra because we're talking about top 40 shit. Sorry, bro.
Well, and to me, what it shows is just the humanity of everybody, right? No matter how cool of a rock star you are, no matter how awesome your album was, you're still just a human being who's fucked up, right? And James Hetfield had all kinds of substance stuff, and he was raised in Christian Science, and like you can't escape that, right? Just because you're a cool rock star that makes cool music, you're still a human, you know?
Yeah, this actually brings into mind, and I'd be interested. I mentioned to Bison the other day, like I don't know what the ego is. Like I don't know what an ego is, and I don't know what a muse is. But everybody throws those words around like these are things that exist. I don't know if they do or not. And I was thinking about, and I've talked with Neil about this before. This idea of the celebrity, that's a new thing, I think. Like the idea of celebrity, that's like a modern thing. Now we have like maybe gods or whatever. So like maybe some like is Jesus a celebrity? You know what I'm saying? Is Judas a celebrity?
I'd challenge that, Chad.
Okay.
I mean, I think I understand what you mean. So like, I've been fighting this whole evening, not talking about how much I like this actor named Tim Blake Nelson. Anyway, but then I watched this film this week called Old Henry that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I love
ended up,
that movie.
Yeah, me too. It ended up being about Billy the Kid, right? But
yeah, I
grew up with like the Dalton gang. They were in Kansas. The James, everybody was in Kansas, and I don't know if that's not celebrity, but like when I go to any other state, I go to prison museums, and see all these outlaws I thought were awesome, or I follow Kit Carson. That was from my youth, right? But like, I think that's the same. Like you end
Yes.
up finding out they only killed 5 people, and you thought they killed 500. But you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
I kind of think, like with this 250 celebration stuff, you know, you think about, yeah, it just feels like celebrities shot through in a way.
I agree. So,
I
like,
mean-
yeah. Go ahead, Wes.
Well, I was going to say, I think the modern conception of a celebrity has been amplified to such a degree through the internet and through media that's unprecedented in that sense, right? Like in the ancient world, you weren't going to have like a Michael Jackson who like the entire world, he was like the most famous person ever at a certain point where like it was crazy amount of fame at that time. But now with the internet and everything, the level of fame and celebrity, I think it's a
Well, it's
different thing.
shinier.
Say again?
It's shinier. I mean, like you think about Julius Caesar or what was the Ottoman leader? I can't remember, Genghis Khan or whatever. Or you know what I mean? Like everybody wrote about these people, whatever land they were from.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were well known for sure, but maybe it was a little bit different in terms of like they didn't have pictures of him or like videos of him or like, you know what I mean? Like it was a different level of whatever this is, whatever this modern.
It's like flashiness, sort of.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm really curious about it. Like,
Yeah, I think about because yeah, I've thought about like the trajectory of celebrity. Where does it come from? And kind of exactly where you're coming from on that. The you know, like the cowboy or and that's like more kind of like a motor or something like that, or you know what I mean? It's like a category of proto celebrity. Yeah, I mean, you have like, I mean, Al Capone is like that. These,
Infamous.
yeah, there's definitely infamy. But they, you know, like, but yeah, like celebrity. Thinking about celebrity as it relates to like today's celebrities, it's kind of like what was I watching recently? There was who was out there that was still performing. I'm like, why the fuck are they still performing? Like, why are you, oh, what's the point of doing this? Like, are you, and I'm like, are you like, you're like a bird trapped in a cage or something, dude? Like, you don't
Dude,
have
I've
to-
seen
do you like to do this? Like,
I've seen
and I know
some
I'm not trying to
videos.
cast- but it's like
Go ahead.
it's to me it's like maybe I'm being overly rude about that sort of thing, but like what, you know, why do we have you know, like like the Rolling Stones or Fleetwood Mac, these guys are like in their 80s and shit, and you have like these or the Eagles even. So supposedly the Eagles, it's not even the fucking Eagles, but you know, then you got these guys that are like putting on these massive, who knows how much, $100,000 shows just to turn the lights on. You know, like, why are we doing that? For what purpose is that? Are you guys that afraid of your legacy dying? You are a legacy band. That's what this is. And for what purpose? It's strange to me.
I would imagine there's some of that going on. Like I've seen some videos recently of both David Lee Roth and Vince Neil that were just like, dude, you guys got to hang it up. You guys can't sing anymore. You can't hit those notes. Like, what are you doing? Exactly to your point, right? I saw Don Henley a few years ago. Like he could not pull it off at all. I was like, dude, you need to move on. But if they can still play the songs, right, then that's another thing. But when you suck and you can't just accept that, you know, I think that's definitely time to hang it up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm more asking the question. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a David Lee Roth. So I don't know what he's, and maybe they're doing it. Maybe because it's so fun for them and that they still have customers. Obviously, they're still selling.
Well, that was one of the things. His show didn't do well. Like the tickets didn't sell. Like it was obvious. Like,
But I take my cues kind of from, I mean, I love Tom Waits. I got to admit that. But I don't know. I kind of wish Ezra didn't leave, because especially Chad, with what we talked about with ego and Muse, like when Ezra mentioned that making the perfect alt indie album, like I'm very curious about that, because I keep watching publications come out about what my dissertation topic was that I never finished, but it's propelled so much of my life.
What was your dissertation topic?
It was how nothing shows up in everything. But I started that in 2017 or something, and it's really changed the way I see everything almost every day. It's fine. But like a book somebody made a podcast about this week was called How Non-Being Haunts Being or something. And I was like, oh, they did it, and they used similar. Anyway,
Was that Vervaeke?
No. Oh, it might have been.
Because I just saw one with him and Rafe Kelly where they mentioned that phrase.
Oh, you're right. It was that one, yeah. But I wonder if whatever that thing was that was haunting doesn't still elicit like experiences you otherwise wouldn't have almost every day, like I think about that with you, Chad, with the young one, and mine getting older, and then lots of people across the community that talk about how things change when they have kids or blah, 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 right? And hearing people encourage, I don't know, there was another beautiful thing I saw today. I can't remember who it was either, but somebody it was Martin Shaw. Oh, it was on, anyway. But somebody said, like, how do I keep writing now that I have a baby? And it was just so lovely to watch Martin say, whatever you pour into that baby will come back to you in your writing. Don't worry about it. Like, pour it into the baby and don't fucking worry about being a writer. And that kind of stuff, you see what I mean? Like, I wonder about that with Ezra, like with that, whatever that dream was, because it comes up all the time for him, that like perfect sort of conceptual indie album he had in mind. And maybe he's always reaching for it. That's still kind of what I feel like. I mean, I get notions all the time of like, oh, now I'm ready to write. Now I'm old and stupid. Like now I can just belch it out like diarrhea. Can't. But it's clearly always leading me in the way I perceive the world and what I attend to. So I wonder if that's kind of what folk talk about with the muse, although in my youth, I would have said that was more something that like drives you a little bit more like lust or passion, like I want to get to the top of that 14er. And it doesn't feel like that anymore, but it still kind of feels like a shaper, like if I didn't have that dream, something probably would be less likely about me living. I don't know.
Yeah. The dream. Interesting. The dream. I'm thinking about this. For me, the dream of yeah, because you know, maybe the secret dream, the one that probably shouldn't be spoken, but will maybe it's something like maybe someday somebody will dig up whatever the shit is that was made, and they'll be able to look at it, and maybe they'll get something beautiful out of that, and I'll make them available. I'm doing that here. You know, I wanted that's part of show and tell. I like doing that, but I don't think that I don't take that potential outcome very seriously as far as something that will happen. Um, Meanwhile, I could snack a little bit on these good times, and that's lot of enjoyment there. But really, it is like I said, the friction of creation is where the joy really is for me. Just making the things. You know, I love the feeling of the creative flowing through. That is, there's something very electric about that still. And, you know, and
Chad, I like
so
that.
yeah,
I like
what's
that
that?
so much better because you know, like when I was raising my kids, I found myself wrestling with. There's also this other thing I'd like to be doing, which was writing, and it's so different than the creative friction because you can find that everywhere.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you think that you can find it in a certain place, like making music or making stories, or you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But I also don't have like I don't come from a pedagogy or anything like that. Like I don't have like a I'm not taught any of this stuff. It's like and I so when I write, if I do creative writing generally, it's like in the morning, and I only have maybe an hour to do it because I still have some other stupid shit I got to do. You know what I mean? And so I do it. I wake up really early. I try to do a little bit of creative stuff when I can. I try to do the stuff I'm supposed to do, and then I go to work. And then when I come home, I'm trying to be with my family and when they're awake and stuff. But so I don't have like when I hear like these guys who are pouring hours every day and stuff, I'm like, I that would make me hate. That would make me hate the work, and I'm not interested in that. I don't want to hate the creative stuff.
I've heard so many stories of people who, you know, they become successful with their art and they get paid for it and then they hate it and they don't like it anymore. So I think that's it seems to be a real thing.
absolutely. When I became a music major, I quit giving a shit about making music, you know, like, but Chad, there's still something irritant about it, right? Like, that's the part I'm curious about. So, like, I guess I feel like I'm the oldest person in the room, but, and I don't want to talk patronizingly or anything like that.
Please do.
Like, but it always keeps irritating me. So I find that curious, you know, like I don't expect to write the great American novel or the good poem or anything, but it itches at me all the time when I'm not doing it. And that's something else aside from doing something. And I feel that in you. I feel this like something wants to process itself through media, and all the constraints, you know, like if you think of like daughter, wife, job, friends, this bullshit as, you know, like poetic forms. So it's making you a sonata or a sestina or whatever. Like that itchiness is still there. Like it feels to me like there's something in you that likes to be making in addition to all the beautiful things you're making by tiling or parenting or spousing or like I think those things are important. Like just I mean I don't know you, Wes, at all, but I guess all of us kind of have itchiness, like, and
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's important.
I think it's part of as someone who believes that we're made in the image of God, I think it's like deep within us to create because God is creative. So we have that same drive, that same it's what we were made to do, I think, in a way.
Right, but like that can be folded into, I mean, the fucking way I take care of my kids' cats
Sure.
is that, but it's not quite that. There's some part that's still itchy. You see what I mean? Like that's the part I'm curious about with all of us.
Yeah, and the word muse, like oh, go ahead, Chad.
It's like something like trying to make like trying to it's like fishing or something, like why do some people go fishing even if they have all the fish you can eat? It's like, well, I really love the sitting out there and just kind of like casting out and looking at the lake and hearing the stuff and spending time with people. And I really love showing them the big fish that I caught. I didn't make the fish, I just caught it, and how the hell did I catch that? I have no idea, and there's something cool about that. But also it's like, as it relates to like the creative, I think the act of creation, the fruits of creation is something like making the illogical and unreasonable reasonable and logical and beautiful. It's taking the ineffable and trying to just be like, do you see that? Like something like that. And it's like I don't know, it's like trying to, like when I talk about the love that I have for my daughter, it's like there's nothing about that is I can really explain, really. I don't really know why, right? I mean, I just know that it's the most deepest thing. And yet when I show a picture of her to you, I'm like, did you see? Can you see her? And it's like that. It's something like that with the creative works, whatever they are. And I think they're not only is it a gift, but I do think that it is I do think it is a responsibility because again, my dogs aren't writing poetry. They're not writing stories. God gave me a consciousness. I don't know what for, but seems to be not just setting tile, but like being creative in this other way is an important way of expressing that consciousness. And then maybe the sharing of that with others is something like the projecting the glory of God or something, I don't know how else to say that. Mark, I'm sorry, man. We were talking too much. We still let you. God damn it.
Yeah, the word muse, I've always kind of been intrigued by that too. Like I've always understood it to be like just like inspiration or something like that. But I've heard people talk about it like it's like an entity also. So I'm not sure what you guys have heard about that.
Yeah, that was the same. I can't remember really how it came up, but like that's how I understand it. Like Vervaeke, for instance, treats muse as like a spirit or a power, and like in my life writing, like my concept of beauty is somehow oddly tied with, I don't know, I have an amazing artist friend who's musician and visual artist and music farmer and etc. And his is like Mary Magdalene, it looks like, maybe. And I always have associated mine with Beatrice, like Dante's Beatrice, that it's just the thing that draws you upward. So everywhere I see beauty, it kind of turns into this. That's what I thought about the muse, but like in the old days, especially when I was composing music, I would have thought of it as kind of like when you're super duper hungry and you want chicken or steak or pasta, like the lead on thing. But yeah, kind of the same with the ego now, and I don't know if it's just because I'm old or whatever, but now it feels like they could be the same thing, like
Muse and ego.
Yeah, the desire and the desired thing might be the same thing.
Interesting.
So what's a museum?
Yeah, is that the same root word? I wonder.
That's beautiful, like an artifact.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you say a museum is a collection of things we think were led by the muse? Is that what we're saying?
Question.
Yeah.
These things went farther than what we thought we could do.
Like,
so let's keep them.
What's a mausoleum?
That's actually the thought that just occurred to me right before you said that too. I was wondering the same exact thing. That's weird. Because that's where dead people are, right?
Yeah.
It's a different I don't know.
root.
Yeah,
it's
so
a different
museum is something
etymological
like
root, but
yeah, it would be interesting
Is
to
it?
look at the
Museum?
etymology of all
Okay.
those. Yeah.
yeah, a mausoleum and a
A
museum.
museum?
Yeah, those are different. So like a museum,
But how about muse and museum? Because it might be like
those I think are they're the same.
it might be. It makes me think of Ghostbusters, kind of like when they have that containment unit that they put
Yeah.
all the ghosts in. Like that's like a museum, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
it's like a place where somebody's corpses of the muse are put on display for everybody else to marvel at. And
It's like an artifact.
I mean, when I go to like antique shops, and I love going to antique, like there's this in Waukesha, there's an antique mall, which is like this big ass, what was probably like a Ben Franklin's or something at one time, and then so there's like all these consignment booths throughout the thing, and there are all these different kinds of antiques. I just love walking around there. I don't ever buy anything from there. I just want to walk around in there, and I treat it like a museum because I love the smell. Like I can smell this stuff. I can see this beautiful Americana from 20th century, and sometimes a little older. But to me, that's all very beautiful, and it's like I have no desire to own any of that stuff. But
Yeah. It's like county historical museums. I love
Yeah.
them so much. They collect like
Yeah.
the whole spirit of that town since 1870, basically.
Yeah.
Somehow contained in objects
Mm-hmm.
or spilled through objects, maybe is a better way to say it.
Yeah, it's amazing how old objects seem to have, yeah, there's something more going on there than just
Yeah.
material stuff, you know? Yeah.
It's like something's pouring from behind to you, and it's just a postcard from 1927.
Oh my god. There's hundreds of them. Go look.
Or a
I mean,
saddle.
it's almost looking through ancient 20th century American family photos of people you've never met and will never meet, and just being like, wow, it's I don't know, I love all that stuff so much, and I don't know why. I don't really know, like, I wonder, and my mind is kind of like that too, right? Like you have this this whole stockpile of experience, and you just kind of can. Sometimes one falls out the front and says, "Hey, well, maybe you looked at me for a while." Like, no, I haven't actually. Well, that's interesting. But those are kind of some of the things that occur, and yeah.
That's what I mean about, like, I'm headed to the Black Hills again next week, and I go to those museums and I know the things on the wall are like reproductions of reproductions of reproductions of people that lived there. And I'll stand in front of it and I can already tell you I'll cry and feel like something's going through that media, even though it's like a reproductive media that I can look at the original there in the archives, but they've blown it up, put it on the wall in a digital whatever. And that's how I feel like when we listen to music on Spotify or YouTube or something, right? Like, that's not, but it still shoots me through from behind and before and ahead. I don't know how to explain that, but I think that's kind of, I would guess that's what the word muse meant for folk in ancient Greece. Something like that. Like, we can't explain why this happens to us, so we'll give it this word.
So I think that if I had to say what my muse is, it's some vague, shambling. Is that the right word? It's some
It's a good
vague,
word.
shambling ghost of the American dream. That's really my muse.
How do you mean?
I'm
Yeah.
deeply inspired by the idea of the American dream.
And
What
what's
do
your
you mean by
understanding?
that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what I mean by that.
You want to build a railroad?
Well, somebody did, and I have a railroad that runs right past my house here, and like a block and a half away, and you can hear a train coming, a mile away, and every time that train comes, my daughter stands up and says, with reverence, "Train." Like, these things all mean something to me, and so the and the American dream is not one thing. It is it's this beautiful shimmering, like, if it was a ball, it looked like something. I don't know. It's like it's hard. It's really hard. Maybe everything I've ever done is something about that. everything creative thing I've ever intentionally made, artistic creative thing, is something to do with that.
Is it like hope? Wes, can you ask it clearer?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it defined different ways by different people, but yeah, hope that's yeah. I wonder about that. Is it along those lines?
Well, I think there's hope in it. I don't think it's hope as such. It's everything. It's disgust. It's gratitude. There's resentment in it. It's all this. It's like it's an epic. It's not some thing that you wake up in the morning from and you can't remember what it was. It's like it's like
Is it like a drive?
it's what's that? The American dream itself, a drive.
To you, yeah.
Oh, it's I think
Like a motor in you?
no, I think it's like living inspiration, something within me. It's I'm astonished by it that that like I don't say this lightly, like to think that I was born at this time in this place, living in this life, met the people I've met, seen the things I've seen, all the above. It's all of that. It's yeah. I don't know. I don't really know why that's. Yeah, I love everything. The symbol of it, the flag, the whole thing. I'm not like I'm not patriotic in that way though. Like I'm not out there like flying the flag or anything like that. That's not it. It's a different thing that I'm thinking of. It's something more. Um, it's way more intimate than that. I don't know. I don't know how to
Yeah,
say that. It's a hard
sounds
thing
like
to
what I
really.
would like a better way to talk about the muse. That's what it sounds like to me.
Mm.
Like something that pulls
Yeah, because
everything
it's not a
together
person.
and
It can't
pushes
be a
you
person.
further than you.
Mhm.
What'd you say, Jeff?
Well, yeah, I don't think a muse would be a good. Thank you, Ezra. Very good. Ezra says, "I think what you're saying is you're a Mormon, bro."
The classic American religion, right there. Yeah.
Um,
You see what
yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
really
though,
know how to.
Chad?
Hmm.
Well, I mean it feels like the way you're describing whatever you're calling the American dream pulls everything you experience into a point and pushes it to an unknown point. Which sounds very much like I would guess we would have come to if we talked about the muse, like something that takes everything up in you that happens to be you and then also exposes it to an unknown, but propels it as well. I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
just jazzing here.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to map this out. I guess it's like yeah, it's because I'm not lived anywhere else on the planet, and I've had this like ridiculous privilege of being able to go like from Washington State to Maine, born in California. I've been to Texas. I've been I've worked in Florida. I've been through the Smoky Mountains. I've seen Yosemite a couple different times. I've been to I've been to Mono Lake and to Bodie, California. I've been like I've flown over the in an airplane over the United States several times. I've been across on a Greyhound, twice, and I've walked through New York City at 10 o'clock at night, looking at the skyscrapers, thinking how ridiculous they look. They look like big pieces of cardboard right there, and I've seen all and that to me is this is and I've had authentic Mexican food in San Jose, and
it doesn't sound so much physical, Chad.
No, I understand that, but those things are the things that inspire the things within me.
Mm.
I'm very much primed by the narrative, I suppose, of my experience. And I find a lot of beauty in I could take the material world and distill it into beauty in my mind. You see what I mean? And so that to me is and then to go from the different stages in life that I was able to go through and live through. I mean, the American dream. I don't know. I don't really know why that. I know it sounds probably obscene or weird to some people. I can't help it, but to me, that seems to be. That's always been a thing that's been on my mind, I guess.
Does it feel like breaking free or out of something?
Mm-mm. No, I feel like I'm contributing to whatever that is continuing to unfold. I'm a part of that. I don't feel separate from,
I think I've heard you say things, Chad, like it's going to become what it wants to become, things like that. Have I heard you say stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's almost like there's this thing that's happening that kind of has its own energy or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like tapping into it and participating with it or something like that.
Yeah. This is I'm probably what would I would say this? A functioning, natural-born American pagan. That's probably me. I think that's probably an accurate statement, and one who's happened to be captured by Christ. So, I've marveled at all the American gods, for sure. But I don't know. That's American Woman, Stay Away From Me. Lenny Kravitz. That's funny. That's hilarious.
We put that one in there.
That's the most.
Does he have a song?
This wins the internet tonight. Thank you, Rob.
Oh.
It's a great song.
But then, so that does make me wonder about, I mean, you might be tired and we can stop whenever you want because it's your thing. But
No, I'm not tired.
What would
This is a far better quote and actually captures more of what I'm getting at. And if you haven't listened to the words of that song,
yeah,
like deeply,
I know that one deeply.
Yeah.
I guess well, I don't even know what. Actually, Wes, I feel like you know Chad better than me, probably. So
I don't know Chad that well. I've only hung out with him a couple times. I mean, I've watched him online. I've gotten to know him that way, but we hung out at the estuary and a little bit, and just a few times online.
So I'm curious what your own conceptions of were the difference in our inner engagement about what then part the ego be.
Well, again, that one has connotations too, depending on who you're talking to, right? Like, there's the Freudian idea, which I think that's where it started, right?
He had the query about the ego and the muse. And I feel like we've kind of dug into the muse and we don't know what it is, but it's some kind of mystery that moves us. But then what's the ego do?
Well, my ego is very American. If we're going to get into this, I'm an American. My ego is explicitly American.
Ego.
And yes, exactly. and its muse is its own dream, which is very American idea.
All right.
I mean, that's probably true of all of us Americans, right? We can't escape that.
I don't know about that. I'm just curious how it wrestles with the American Dream muse.
Yeah.
Well, my only issue with the ego talk, with the thing about ego is, and to Marty, I'm not an American Pie film goer. I saw the film, but I do like the song American Pie very much. Anyways, what I don't like about the word ego, or the this category of this category of a part of us that we've decided to call ego, whatever that means, is it's often like a scapegoat for our bad behavior. It's like this thing that's always villainized as being the one that gets blamed for all of the it's the scapegoat.
So are you saying you feel like that instead of taking responsibility, people say, "Oh, that was my ego," rather than taking responsibility? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, and I think that it's just there's just us.
So you're looking at it as more of an integrated, like, I am who I am, and there's not this other part of me that does things. I do things, and so you don't want to like split it off into this other thing.
Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe my ego doesn't like that.
That's your ego talking right now, Chad. You don't want to own that you have an ego, so you're trying to just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the word for the I? I can't remember it. Robert Frost has a beautiful poem about.
Is it id?
No.
So that's a Freud term also. So you have the ego, the id, and the superego. In the Freudian world, those are like the three parts of people. But that's a whole other, that goes down a whole rabbit hole of Freudian psychology, and I think we are tremendously influenced by Freud. Just the fact that word even has a role in our world at all shows how much of an impact his ideas had on us. But that's a whole other thing.
So the ego then comes from Freud?
The term does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't like it.
I found it. Iota.
Iota.
What's that? Iota?
Yeah. I'll find it. Just a second. It's one of my favorite things in all of the world. And I think of it whenever folk talk about the ego. But I'm still curious to hear just what Chad thinks the ego might be.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, especially with regard to 12-step stuff. Is that a term that people use in the 12-step world a lot?
Yeah. Which is like, it's kind of absurd to me that we do that because, like, it's excuse me, it's like obfuscation of some sort to medicalize a spiritual entity like your spirit or your soul, to kind of like kind of repackage it as this sick idea, or you put it, basically the word ego is like a straitjacket on your spirit, something like that. Or what, once your spirit has entered the medical facility, it gets put in a straitjacket and put in a cell, and that is ego number 10001.
Yeah, it's definitely a medical model. I mean, our whole system of disorders and all that, it's all medical model, and that all comes out of Freud.
Well, and I've always thought of the ego as the thing that collapses things to your most relevance. Like I could have 4 kids and a spouse and friends and a job, and the ego collapses that to what matters to me. You see what I mean? Like, much more like Chad was talking about discomfort with post-it notes and maps. But that's always how it's felt to me. It's like if I'm evaluating everything as related to me, that's what I have interpreted as the ego.
So kind of a self-absorption?
Yeah, or resonance, like not ecological at all, but like this is how it happens in my experience, rather than whatever might be happening, which I may have no idea of, right? Like,
because you're so focused on your own stuff versus the bigger picture. Is that what you mean?
I think so. And that's partly why I liked the question about muse and ego, because I feel like, at least in my own conception of like Beatrice as a muse and Dante is, or you could call it the Holy Spirit or whatever the hell you want to call it, but it's always pulling you out of your own story. I think muse's work is the thing that pulls you out of how it relates to me and opens you to the infinitesimal world. And that could happen anywhere, right? Like I watch all my science students just get blown away by studying slime mold or something like that, and then suddenly their own world of experience feels like I've barely got an idea, or astrology or astronomy, or I don't give a shit what kind of ways you are broken out of yourself. But the ego always feels like the thing that interprets and shapes it all around your experience. Like an organismal, tiny finitude experience, rather than, like it's obvious watching Chad talking about the girl that he's always pulled out of himself by this person,
put more into. I think I'm brought more of into who I am because of her.
You feel that way, and I think that's what muse means.
Mm.
Because you're pulled out, you're made larger, and you feel like more of you happens. You know, like we listen to our Christian friends talk about this with the Holy Spirit or Jesus Christ, or like Lukey.
Mhm.
Think about what Luke says, like white stone name equals you become more of yourself because you're pulled out of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's why, like,
what
the
they mean
idea
by muse. Sorry.
when you mention like ego is like this kind of thing where so I'm a man who's a tile setter. I live at this address. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Like those are things attached to ego. But like maybe the reason why I don't like the ego idea there, or those are the things that are the identity of the ego. What I don't like about that is like, is it kind of like if I don't like the less I have or whatever or the less I am a part of it, like let's say if all that gets wiped away tomorrow, then I'm nothing. So maybe I'm just a man. Maybe I am. Yeah, it's those aren't just narratives. Some people think that. I don't know how I feel about that because context matters. You know, I don't like the maybe it's really something I'm dealing with where it's so easy for people to maybe shrug off the identity of father when they ought not. Maybe that's why I don't like these kinds of ways that people use these kinds of words.
But to me, anyway, Chad, father is already bigger than ego. Like ego would be collapsing, in my mind, the Freudian fashion would be that ego collapses fathering to how you father.
Mm.
Father is more muse-like in that it breaks it open to you probably had a father and you've seen other people father, and that's ambiguous,
Yeah.
ambivalent. But ego would collapse it to how I father, how I
Again, it
how
becomes
I
the
do whatever
scapegoat.
the hell I do. Yeah, but it's a reduction. It's a collapse to
Yeah.
my organismal experience.
Yeah, and that's why I just don't like it. I don't think it's a true. The more we made it a true, a true possible entity, I think the more it reduces the man itself, the man himself.
Yeah.
So the more that we give that, because maybe ego is something like a zombie or something like the spiritual zombie that we can just offload our responsibilities on. You know, it's like no, like that. This idea is reductionistic, and I don't, you know what I'm saying. I think that oh, that's just your ego. It's like no, like because I still need to work through those parts of me who do feel. Maybe I'm struggling to. I'm failing my savings throws. Is what's happening here.
You're feeling what?
My
I
savings.
failed all week long, man.
Yes.
I feel like
You're-
the ego is your size. The id is the kind of things you're talking about. Like, isn't the id, Wes, you can correct me perhaps, but I feel like the id is the things you're talking about. Like,
So the id is like our most base desires from a Freudian perspective. It's like our most base, like raw, desires.
oh, it
And
goes
then-
id, ego, super ego.
Correct. Yeah.
And superego is like sometimes I'm Clint Eastwood, sometimes I'm Spider-Man,
It's
sometimes I'm
it's kind of like your conscience
archetypes.
in the Freudian conception of things. Your ego is just like your conscious awareness of things, and like your, you know, you can have a healthy ego, you can have an unhealthy ego. There's ego strength. There's all these terms, and then superego is like the conscience or the God part of you that like tells you what's right and wrong. It's just all his. It's all his stuff.
Yeah.
It's not, you know.
Yeah, these are models.
Yeah.
They aren't the person.
Yeah.
I think that's where I
Freud,
get frustrated.
I always think about the ego as like a devouring eye. So that's probably my own Freud with that.
Well, it's used in pop culture all the time, I think differently than Freud used it. And what it kind of means, what it seems to mean in pop culture is like you hear the term egotistical, right? Oh, that person's egotistical, right? They're selfish, they're self-centered. It's all about them all the time. Like that's usually how that word is used most of the time. And what I hear you saying, Chad, is you want to own that. Like whatever that is, you want to own that and not try to push it off on some other thing that kind of helps you avoid taking responsibility, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, I'm the one with the character defects. You know, not the model of not the prepackaged model of what I might be fitting into. Like, because that's what these things are, right? The word ego is, it's a model of something. It's not a thing.
Yeah, and Freud, you know, was an atheist and was trying to figure out how to make sense of things based on the experiences he was having, and like, you know, I think he tapped into a few good ideas. Like it's helpful to talk to someone about what you're experiencing. That's probably the most valuable thing that he contributed to. I think a lot of his other stuff is kind of weird. If you really get into Freud, like he was a troubled person that had all kinds of weird ideas that I don't think
even
are
to
right.
question it, you know, like even to question it.
Yeah,
that's a benefit.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think there's value in taking responsibility, and anything that helps us avoid that, I think, is not helpful, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think you could use that term in a way that does take responsibility too, though, right? Depends on how a person uses it, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying I never use the term. I'm saying because I do. Like, it's well, it's like talking about God. You say God. We'll use the word God, but that word is a model for the ineffable. Do you see? It's like,
yeah.
So it's something like that.
Yeah, and God is unknowable on some level, right? So it becomes very challenging to have those kind of conversations, because there's this unknowable part of God that, yeah, we can't fathom. And there's unknowable parts of us probably too, because we're made in his image. If we're made in his image, right? Like we have these depths to us that are pretty profound. And back to what you were saying about your daughter, right? Like you can't even put it into words sometimes. It's overwhelming. It's huge.
Never looking at our kids. Never.
But it's fun to marvel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, this is a great conversation. I think we've gone long enough. What do you guys think?
I agree. I'm tired.
I've enjoyed it. I caught part of your stream, your early morning stream today, Chad. I thought those
that
were
was
some
crazy.
Good...
Me too. I woke up to pee, and Chad was on.
Those were some good thoughts. I didn't see it until after it was done. I totally would have jumped into that chat if I were there when it was being said live. Those are good conversations to have.
I'm glad you guys caught it. It was good. It was. I needed to get into that work. I need to get into that work on a regular basis. Sometimes this kind of weird thing, whatever this thing is, this internet shit, can there's an interesting carrot stick thing happening where it's like, well, if I stream about it, maybe it'll jumpstart something and I can get, because I'm not one of these guys who's disciplined in the way that I really wish that I was, where I woke up every morning and I did that reading every morning, and then every night before I went to bed I would do the evening review, and then I would do, like, prayers, at a certain time every day. I would love to be the kind of man that does that, but somehow I can't do it. And so and then, like, sometimes it's the rosary or whatever, or it's like sometimes it's that prayer or this prayer, and I've come to accept that I'm not a very tidy spiritual practitioner.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to throw one thing out there for you, Chad. I have never been my whole life, and I'm 51 right now, but I have been for the last year and a half, and I never would have thought that would have been true of me.
Yeah.
So I think it is possible, even though that
It's
might not have been true before. Yeah.
I do think it's possible.
Well, and it's really interesting for me because I have been, like, after my last kid graduated, I needed no longer to be on social media at all, right? I stayed on there to see what my family was saying, basically, wherever they were throughout the world. And at that point, I could just say, if there's something you want me to know, let me know. Like, I can't have this crap. And then these last year and a half or so, I don't know, like, the TLC feels like it's pulled me into, now you're checking YouTube every day to see, like, what's B doing, what's Chad doing, blah, blah, blah. It feels like so for me, I'm having this opposite struggle of, it was beautiful and easy for me to not. And I'm really having a lot of trouble with just the fact of care, like that I actually like so many people I'm meeting this way. But there's a big part of my body that's like, I would prefer not to, compared to what it's like if I close this laptop screen. I have much less headaches if this thing's closed. But then I'm just meeting all these people I really like, and I'm not going to see you otherwise, So I'm having a struggle.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. I can say that for sure. Like, if it were up to me, I wouldn't be doing any of it. Right. Like, I need a structure to help me do it. So that's really been helpful for me. And I don't think it would happen otherwise.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for watching that. That hopefully we'll get on track and have a more consistent prayer. I don't know, whatever. But I will not mind be done. Whatever happens, I guess. I don't really know what to say about that because I can talk about it, but being about it's a lot harder. So, So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go to bed.
Thank you,
All right, Chad. Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Good to see
Bison.
you guys.
Yeah, you too, Wes.
Good night.
Peace.
Good night.
If you don't mind my saying so, Mr. Garibaldi, you seem to be taking this very personally.
Damn straight. This guy killed 2 lurkers at Scrag, one of my men.